I watched a movie a couple of months ago, and as the title suggests, it made me quit my full-time YouTube career. I'm not quitting YouTube, I'll keep making videos, but I'll be doing it part-time now. I've been super reluctant to make this video and publish it, but since I've been studying carpentry and doing that more seriously for months now, I feel like I can have the liberty to do what I want to do with the channel, without any financial pressure and burden attached to it as I had before. Because I don't rely on monetization to feed myself anymore, I can say that there's a genocide happening in Palestine and that the West is complicit, that fascism is bad and that Trump is a fascist, and here's a picture of a nude painting. Yeah, that gets me demonetized. That being said, I still need to make a little bit of money if I want to do this part-time, so if you like what I do, check out patreon.com/thecanvas. For $1 or more per month, your name will appear in the credits at the end of each video. Another thing I can do now is change my channel's name to Sean Grenier, which is my name. It's something I've been wanting to do for a while because I don't feel the need to rely on the canvas, this disembodied brand, to give my opinions legitimacy anymore. It's a new era for the channel, I believe, and we can thank, in part, the movie Perfect Days for that. So let's break the movie down and see exactly why it made me want to do YouTube part-time. Perfect Days. In a nutshell, Wim Wenders Perfect Days is literally about following a toilet cleaner's routine. At first, this might sound like a sad tragedy, but it's the complete opposite. For about 2 hours, you follow Hirayama in Tokyo, waking up, cleaning toilets, going about his day, and falling asleep. Sometimes the routine is broken by his colleague or by his niece or by a dying man, but generally, we're following the routine of a Tokyo toilet cleaner. If you want an analysis of this incredible movie, I'd recommend Thomas Flight's video titled Hollywood's Obsession with Ambition, where, in the thumbnail, he opposes the ambition of The Bear, a series I've been watching as well, and the satisfaction of Perfect Days. In The Bear, ambition consumes the protagonist. Every time a goal is achieved, a greater goal replaces it. Carmen's goal might be to open his very own restaurant in season 2, but the very day this goal is achieved, he aims for a Michelin star. Now, if we turn our eye to Hirayama, who cleans toilets, the man seems happy, or at least satisfied with what he's doing. Perfect Days isn't about the alienation of a job which seemingly brings no joy. What it is, responds to the myth that you need to find a job you love in order to be happy. Find a job you love. When we're children, we're put into school, and when we eventually ask why we're there, we're often told that it's to eventually get a job. At least those were mostly my answers to the question. At best, we're told that it's to learn, but when we ask why we need to learn, it's for very capitalist reasons. We justify the need to learn to read, for example, by saying that you need to read to get a good job. We're rarely told that the purpose of school or the purpose of learning is to grow, to help us become a better person, to acquire the tools to become self-actualized. At least that was my experience, and in my experience, a good job was one that I enjoyed, that I loved. For other people, getting a good job is tied to prestige or income, but for me, and I'm very lucky it was the case, a good job meant a job I loved. Have any of you had the experience of seeing garbage collectors and being told, if you don't go to school, you'll end up like these guys? I did. I apparently told my mom when I was 4 years old that I'd like to become a garbage collector one day, though she's not sure if it was because I liked the garbage truck or because I wanted to make my parents laugh. Maybe I actually did want to be a garbage collector because I thought they worked only 1 day a week. Later in high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. All I knew was that I should go to college, or to cégep, as people in Quebec will know. I genuinely believed that going to college was necessary to have any palatable future. In my case, college was super important. Not to actually give me a degree, because it didn't, but because I learned so much from it. I went to 3 different colleges, did 3 different programs, and didn't complete any of them. But again, I learned a lot. I first studied in humanities, planning on going to university after, to then study literature to learn to write in order to become a journalist, to then study in photography to become a photojournalist. While studying photography in 2018 in Montreal, I lived in a tiny apartment with my friend Guillaume. We lived like rats for $300 a month. It was a loft that was kind of separated by a bathroom that was located right in the middle of our tiny apartment. On one side, where the kitchen was supposed to be, Guillaume slept on a mattress on the floor. On the other side of the bathroom, I slept on a couch that was way too small for me, yet too big for our apartment as it had partially blocked the outside door. However, there was enough space on the floor for me to sleep on if my back hurt too much from sleeping on the sofa. So, as I lived like a rat with Guillaume, I lived perfect days, which is easy to say looking back at it, but I remember saying I was pretty happy. I worked a part-time job at a bookstore, studied photography full-time, and the time I had extra, I would go out and take pictures. I remember thinking to myself while on a mushroom trip in that apartment that I could just keep working part-time at the bookstore, drop school, and just keep taking pictures. My plan was to live a perfect day's life. We don't know how much Hirayama works. It doesn't look like it's much, honestly, and he takes pictures, reads, grabs a beer at a local bar, etc. He lives an incredibly simple life, but not a meaningless one. He can self-actualize through books, through music, through art. Many people with high-paying jobs, with high-status jobs, won't have the time to be as satisfied and actualized and as happy as Hirayama. Living like a rat and working part-time allowed me to save money, which allowed me to travel. My life plan at that moment was to live like a rat, work part-time, save up, and travel. I left for 3 months in Guatemala and Honduras, where I first had the idea of this YouTube channel and where I decided to go to university in social sciences. I came back to Canada, started uni for a year, started the YouTube channel, I moved to the country, and a couple of years later, this YouTube channel became my job, and here we are today. I said I was happy when I lived like a rat in Montreal in 2018, and I'm still happy today, but also a lot more stressed. Before doing my carpentry class, I managed the artist residency, hosting artists from all over, sometimes making videos on them. We also have a hostel section in the house with 12 beds. I had a contract to make videos and documentaries on local artists where I live, and of course, I had YouTube. And YouTube is probably the most draining job that I have, mostly because it's the only one I would ever allow to drain me as much. Being a YouTuber is a dream job. I can do for a living what I normally would do for fun, but that comes at a cost. Find a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life. That's bullshit. Don't believe it, it's a trap. Being a YouTuber, though it is a dream job, it's amazing, I love it, but it's a lot of work. It's not true that I haven't worked a day in my life because I love my job. Always being at the mercy of the algorithms, stressing about if a video is going to work or not, if a topic is going to catch interest or not, always looking for topics, never being able to clock out. Not being able to clock out is the worst part of being a YouTuber, or any autonomous worker, I guess. An artist who did residency at my place this summer shared this situation, the feeling that you can never clock out. They had a successful art career, it's their dream job, but they had to stop not because they didn't love their job, but for their own mental health. They are a published writer who can live off their poetry, which is extremely rare, yet they felt like if they wanted to continue having this dream job, they'd have to force themselves to write, to be productive, to always be better, to have this fear of not being good enough, to not be as good as before, fear that if what they did wasn't good enough, they'd be punished for it. And that's exactly how I felt. If I'm not good enough, I'll be punished for it. Any job will punish you for slacking, but most won't punish you for not outperforming yourself every single day. You can never clock out. If you do, you feel this guilt, this fear of being punished. So you're always working, even if you're not. It's all-consuming. We all watched, a bunch of artists in residency and I, the movie Moonlight, in which at the end, and there's no spoilers, a character talks about the comfort of working as a cook in a diner. He does his job and goes home, and he praises how relieving it is to be able to do that after a life of hustling. When I shared with the poet that the speech of the cook really spoke to me, They said they felt the same way, that they'd like to be able to clock out and to work on their art, their passions, free of any requirements for performance, free of any threat of punishment. This culture of performance and ambition is one praised by society. It's one required by capitalism, as if everyone competes against each other, everyone needs to outperform and be more ambitious than their neighbor. Find a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life is a trap to make you believe that if you don't like your job, it's your fault, that you didn't find the right job. But everyone hates Mondays. They have the Sunday scaries. TGIF is a thing. People count their days to their retirement. Most people hate their job. And if you identify so closely to a job, but you hate that job, you kind of hate yourself. I think the best we can do is find a job that we're okay with, that doesn't alienate us too much, so that we can actually concentrate on, have time for, have energy for things we actually care about, things that make us grow as humans without any pressure or threat. Don't try to find a job that will develop you as a human, because there are limitations and pressures that jobs will all inevitably have. But find a job which will give you enough free time to allow you to freely navigate, explore, and practice hobbies, passions, activities, which will help you become self-actualized. Hold on a minute. I find it easy to idealize the perfect days lifestyle, as I've been doing, so let's criticize it a little. Not everyone can be satisfied. Hirayama can afford living this lifestyle when many people can't. For example, he doesn't have children he's responsible for, which in large part enables this freedom. He doesn't seem to be in debt, or if he is, it doesn't seem to bother him much. We can imagine that if he was American and had student loan debt or medical debt, things would be quite different for him. He makes a lot of sacrifices when it comes to technology, not having a smartphone or access to the internet, which you may argue is not essential to him. It wouldn't make it a sacrifice, but still, it's a sacrifice socially, since much of our communication and social organization is done through the internet. Which brings us to the second criticism: need for community. Hirayama is a very quiet and lonely person. He barely speaks, he lives alone, eats alone, works alone. He's almost entirely self-sufficient. He does have a love interest and does spend a day with his niece because she kind of forced him to, but aside from that, he doesn't seem to need other people. He doesn't need a strong social life. Which, good for him, I guess. This man is self-sufficient. He can wake up, do his job as it's required, then do his own things and not organize, not bond, just be. And there's a freedom in just being, in not relying on others. But that comes with another criticism: the atomized individual. I love Hirayama, and I wish him the best, but he's not contributing to building strong and tight-knit communities which promote solidarity and mutual aid. He's kind of the perfect capitalist subject. We talked earlier about how capitalism encourages ambition, performance, and competition so that every good little worker works as hard as possible. But it also requires a lot of people who can tolerate alienating jobs. You need people to do shit jobs, and you don't want these people to be ambitious, or else they won't do these shit jobs. When people, either it's a stranger or his sister, look down on Hirayama because of his job, he needs to accept it and turn the other cheek. Hirayama is the perfect subject for that function of society. And in being so lonely, not participating in an active community, Hirayama contributes to an increasingly individualized and atomized world. It's very different from Tokyo, but here in the middle of nowhere in Gaspésie, there isn't much community. If you have any interest in art, for example, it will be hard to find people with these interests because we're a small population spread out on a large territory. Being so extremely isolated and atomized where I live, where I'm trying to build a community of interests around culture and art, when the little people in my area decide to not get implicated in an active community, and it doesn't necessarily need to be around culture and art, well, it impacts me directly. People's individualism and atomization makes me lonely. So when I see Hirayama not participating in an active community and living a reclusive lifestyle, I associate it to harmful antisocial behavior, though again, you can probably find community in Tokyo easily enough, even if Hirayama doesn't participate in it. That might just be a boring rural small town kind of issue. Without imitating Hirayama, I still think the Perfect Days lifestyle is possible and compatible with a healthy and active participation in your community. Living simply with little means can enable you to work less, maybe by finding a mindless part-time job, which can free your time and allow you to place it in what matters to you. If you're in debt, or if you have kids, or have any other responsibilities and obligations, the Perfect Days lifestyle might not be for you. You may need to sacrifice some free time, some hobbies, and even some dreams, because our system is incentivized to extract as much labor out of you as possible. The thing is, you shouldn't need to live like a rat in order to have time to self-actualize. Most jobs shouldn't be as demanding, alienating, and all-consuming as they are. Your job shouldn't be more important than your family, community, and your own personal goals. Living the Perfect Days lifestyle isn't about trading ambition for satisfaction, though I do like to think of it that way, but it's more about changing what you're being ambitious for. I associate ambition to having a better job, to make more money, to gain more power, to get promoted, and get a better job, make more money, more power, etc. Satisfaction isn't stagnation, at least it's not to me. Hirayama doesn't stagnate. He has a routine, sure, but he's reading different books, taking different pictures, developing and growing as a person every day. I guess what watching Perfect Days made me do is reevaluate what I actually want in life, what my ambitions are. The movie forces you for 2 hours as you watch a man clean toilets to really think what your ambitions are and if they make you happier than Hirayama's ambitions. Your ambitions are probably more stressful and demanding than Hirayama's ambitions, and the movie is asking you, is it worth it? So I'm going to do YouTube without growth and money in mind. I don't want to stress over making videos that will get clicks and views, over making videos within a specific time limit. I just want to make videos for fun, and if being a toilet cleaner enables that for me, then maybe I should consider cleaning toilets. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'd like to thank Roman Brandel, X-Towns, Jeff, and all my other patrons for supporting the channel. If you also want to support, check out patreon.com/thecanvas. Thank you.